Dear viewers, welcome to the show Power Chat, Nepal's only TV talk show in English discussing development since 2016. Through this episode tonight, we are discussing about the role of academic institutions on promoting research culture in Nepal. And I'm joined tonight by Professor Tattva-Prasad Timsina. He is working at Tribhuvan University as a professor. Let's talk. Welcome to the show, Professor Timsina.
Thank you.
How have you been?
Yeah, so good. And these days I'm working especially in the field of some research, evaluation research, apart from teaching at Tribhuvan University.
Well, Professor Timsina, you have long been engaged in teaching and research, and currently also serving at the Tribhuvan University.
Yes.
As a professor. How do you see the overall culture of research, especially that of the academic research in Nepal?
Yeah, compared to a few years back, say like 2-3 decades back, research culture is slowly growing in Nepal, and it has been started mainly through the university, and because the university has main role in promoting research, and with the initiation of all these new academic programs such as BBA and BBM and some other programs, academic programs, Tribhuvan University has tried to include research in the academic field. But overall, we are still in the early stage. Hopefully, it will be much better in future.
Well, could you also tell us about the key challenges that researchers face in Nepal?
I think the key challenge is we still don't have that sort of environment for the research. Because we are still following the traditional way of learning here, and just to pass the exam, and students are more keen for their results. So research is not still become a culture here, and maybe we still don't have that sort of teaching pedagogy for research. Teachers are also learning as well as students are also learning. So we are still in the learning phase. So the first and foremost challenge of our system is to develop a climate for academic research. I think this is the right time to start that sort of climate.
How can that be developed? What are the areas that the state and universities need to invest upon so to promote the culture of research?
I think we should not start everything right from the scratch because many things have happened so far. We can learn from many international and reputed universities, and they have been very much successful by incorporating research as a major component in their academic programs. So we can learn from them, or we can inspire ourselves from such activities of renowned universities, and I'm sure I'm quite hopeful we are in that direction also, and hopefully in future we'll have much better situation.
Professor Timsina, do you agree that the departments within universities of Nepal, especially that of Tribhuvan University, have not been able to explore research collaboration with national and international research organizations?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I fully agree with this. I think from this point, because still we have very, I think, traditional type of human resources in our university system. There is some sort of conflict between new and I think new recruit and the old people working at universities, because research was not a major component before, and now it is fully believed that without research, I think university cannot succeed properly. So there is some sort of conflict in between new and old human resources even within the university system.
What are the less researched areas in the academic field?
I think in our context, research is in very early stage, in its infancy, I should say, because personally, I see almost every areas it's quite buzzing in terms of research. That's why in the past, even at present time also, many people, especially academicians or researchers from the Western universities, they come here They do different types of research. We are learning some from such research carried out by outside people, but I think many areas, almost every areas are in early stage, are in infancy. I think right from the very recent concept like the climate change or even mountaineering issues and everywhere in science and technology and other social field. I think we see, personally I see all areas in need of research, especially academic research. And we have that potentialities because we have the students and we should encourage them to do research.
You were the founder chairperson of PhD Center.
Yeah.
Why did you establish this center, and how does this center contribute towards the promotion of research culture in Nepal?
Yeah, being myself also in the Tiruvani University, actually personally I could not do whatever I wanted to do because in Tiruvani University I think we have very strict bureaucratic system, and it's very difficult to convince our I think human resources over there. And as I think as a responsible citizen, then I thought why not I can do something to promote PhD education in Nepal. And that is also related to my own experience because while doing PhD I had to try 3 times before completing my study. I had to change universities and I had to do so much of trouble, and I saw many of even my teachers, they were having lot of problem after they joined PhD. So I thought, I think our new generation should not have that sort of challenges in future. So I started PhD center around 12 years before, and that was the main reason because that came from my own experience. And the main reason is to provide a conducive environment for everyone who want to do PhD in Nepal, no matter whether they join Tiruvani University or Kathmandu University or whatever university they would like to join. Through PhD Center, we have provided the platform for those who want to pursue PhD studies.
Do you have any statistics of the PhD students that have already completed their doctorate programs, and what are they doing?
Actually, like we have around 75 scholars, they have already completed their PhD studies, and right now more than hundreds are continuing their study. If we see the data of Tiruvani University and Kathmandu University, I think this number is quite impressive. With such a very limited resources, I think we have achieved quite a big number here. If we see the total number of PhD holders in Nepal, I think it's very, it's not very impressive. Around 3,000 PhD holders are in Nepal. I think it is one of the lowest number in the world. So it also indicates that how much we are giving emphasis on research, academic research in Nepal. And the main reason why the number is so low, because we don't have that sort of environment here. We don't want to encourage others to do PhD. If some person has already done PhD, he or she doesn't like to actually encourage others, because many people, they don't want to compete with these people, those who do PhD afterwards. So I think this sort of very negative environment we have regarding PhD.
Well, Professor Timsina, you shared a lot more things relating to bureaucratic hurdles within Tiruvani University that led you to establish PhD Center, and you already 75 plus PhD graduates came from this center, and altogether there are 3,000 PhD holders here in Nepal.
Yeah.
Is there any assessment or your own observation about what these PhD graduates and how they have been contributing to the process of development here in Nepal in their respective areas.
Recently, I carried out one study on status of PhD education in Nepal. It's already more or less published. So, through that study, I came to know that most of the PhD holders in Nepal, they are involved in academic activities. And while establishing this PhD center, we took one major aim, that was after completing the PhD study, the person should start or should encourage his or her team in the respective institute to establish research unit. So we are encouraging, because many of our PhD holders are from academic institutes, so we are encouraging them to start research unit in their colleges or even in the schools, because they should develop a new culture, they should develop a new environment, so that the academic people or whoever, I think even every sector, from people from every sector, they could pursue PhD, and at least they should contribute something in the academic research field. So many of these researchers, those who completed PhD, I think they are quite happy, they are quite successful in their field. I have seen so many instances. They are very much, they are promoted in their respective institute. So PhD really adds value in their career. I think almost 90% are quite successful because of PhD.
Well, Professor Timsona, does PhD degree guarantee expertise in the respective areas? Because there is criticism that there is no substantive contribution on part of the national development or national growth from the researchers.
Yeah.
What you have to say on that?
No, definitely PhD, I think it is not just a degree, it is a new type of degree. I think it's not similar to like master's or bachelor program also, because PhD scholars should convince himself or herself, because without personal convincing personally, they cannot move ahead. In that regards, PhD holders definitely contribute to the nation building, to their own respective area. I have seen so many of such examples where they have contributed a lot. And because the number itself is so low, I think as I already mentioned, it is just 3,000 plus, and it is the lowest number I think in the world, compared to like a similar population like Malaysia. We have almost similar. They produce like every year more than 10,000 PhD holders, compared to like 100 in our context. So I think whatever these 100 people can contribute, I think they have done quite good job. That is why I am fully satisfied.
How do you see the role of University Grants Commission? Does it promote culture of research, or what needs to be done to strengthen the institution, UGC itself?
I think University Grant Commission was established with that premise, and it has got a very big role, but we need to see how they are operating. They have to do something, because government has channelized that much of fund. But UGC is very much a bureaucratic organization. We can see all these hierarchies over there, and even for a very genuine researcher, it's very difficult to get support from UGC, because the mindset of all these UGC people, I think mostly, I have seen many of these people, is quite old. Like I have heard that actually they have told in different occasions that they don't want to support PhD researchers who are doing research from India or from other countries. I think it's quite funny, because many of our old human resources, they got PhD from India, and now they themselves are saying they don't want to support the researchers who are doing PhD in India. So I don't know why they have this sort of mindset. So the mindset is the major factor regarding the development of any organizations. So UGC is also, I think, limited with such old mindset, which should be eradicated.
What are your suggestions to UGC so that research students enrolling in any universities across Nepal or outside
Exactly.
Nepal, as you are saying that the students enrolled outside Nepal have
Exactly.
not been benefited with
Yeah.
its initiatives.
Yeah.
What are your suggestions? Improving its quality so
Yeah.
that research students benefit from its programs.
No, actually, UGC should not be a biased organization. They should take all scholars equally. If we see the PhD holders who receive their degree from India or other and compared to Tribhuvan University, I think the quality is not bad. Even I see that PhD from outside, especially from India or other universities, they are much better. I think what UGC or others should do, even these issues come in the accreditation center at Tribhuvan University, I think what they should do is to take some sort of exam, oral or written, I don't know, then can decide. And they should say after that whether the person is capable or not. It doesn't mean that anyone who is graduated from Mahendra Sanskrit University, Nepal Sanskrit University, Tribhuvan universities, they are better. I don't think so. There are many other universities, even we have not heard the names of these universities here. So maybe our students are all over the world. So university as well as UGC and all these research institutes, they should have very big mind. They should have open mind and receive all types of students from all over the world.
Well, coming back to the teaching learning activities of PhD Center, how do you collaborate with the universities abroad, and how do you deliver the knowledge to students, those enrolled within many universities outside Nepal?
No, universities in other countries are quite open. I think learning should not be restricted with all these bureaucratic norms and I think bad norms and practices. Education system should be open. And this has especially been emphasized by this corona issues also, because after this corona, many of these universities are gone virtual also. So before, I think by virtual means that was not an education, but now many universities are following virtual education. So I think if we are not open with the changing context, then I think the organization will perish. They will wipe out in future, I think. So in this context, we should learn more from other universities, even Tribhuvan universities or University Grant Commission. They should learn from others who are doing much better, because learning is not bad thing. I think they should learn. So many universities that we are working right now, they are from Malaysia and UK and India. They are much better and they are doing quite good job. And they want to contribute to Tribhuvan University also, and they have done already some support. So I think we should be open. We should collaborate with each other and prosper our country.
Well, you referred to the corona context. As an academician, what are your suggestions to the overall teaching learning environment from beginning from the school to universities here in Nepal? Do you think that the alternative way of education, especially those of the children, is appropriate at the moment? Because there are some studies in the recent times that this is widening the gap between haves and haves not, especially that of the digital divide kind of thing. What are your suggestions?
Yeah, I think this is a very serious issue, and because of our own economic conditions, as you mentioned, all students, they are not able to buy all these I think expensive gadgets, and but we don't have other alternatives also, because education should not be stopped. Like if we don't teach a student 1 or 2 days, we cannot get that days back, because that is just lost. So we should be very, very careful in this context. We should use whatever is possible. Like there may be like alternative days, or even some virtual, and we have also started like teaching through television, which is not that much of effective anyway. At least something was done before. So we need to be more creative. I think even in this context, we need to do more research. The importance of research lies here. So without all these, it's very difficult to say. But there are so many ways that we can apply, even in this difficult scenario. But in my view, I think we should not stop even a single days, working days for our students without any teaching, because that days will not be regained in future. So it is just lost. And that lost days, I think, will definitely impact in the learning of the students in future.
Well, Professor Timshina, you brought to us very frustrating data that only 0.3% GDP contribution from the research here in Nepal. What immediate actions are required to increase the GDP contribution, also the contribution of researchers into the overall development of Nepal?
In my view, I think we should link research to innovation. I think without linking research to innovation, we cannot benefit, because innovation creates entrepreneurship, innovation creates new sort of businesses. So research should not just for the research, it should be for the prosperity of the nation. So I think innovation is the major area that we need to invest, and innovation without research is not possible. In my view, I think we should enable each and every individual, every citizen of the country to be more creative and be more innovative. And in this process, research has a very important role.
Any suggestions for the policy contribution of the research?
Sure, yeah. That is another important area. And especially for academic research, I think that is one of the major areas. Even all the, I think, university, they encourage students to recommend at least some policy, some suggestions that policy could be improved, or new policies could be developed. At least some sort of support for the policy formulation through academic research is always there.
Yeah. And how can researchers from Nepal contribute towards the culture of international knowledge exchange programmings? We see through some data that very few researchers contributing their insights to the international research innovations and initiatives.
Yeah, this is true. And I think this is very, very right time for that aspect, because now this virtual scenario has connected the world so nicely. I think it's the very right time. If we see the past, even for a small 1 or 2 days conference, we had to go to abroad, and which was quite expensive. Now so many things are happening virtually, and especially the researchers and academic people should use this virtual network, should build strong virtual network which could be used even after, I think, we pass this scenario. We move towards physical meeting and other things. So this is right time. I think the researchers, the academicians should spend more time on exploring the ways by which we can link to the international domains, especially in the field of academic research. I think that possibility lies now.
Well, Professor Timshina, there are many interesting issues you are sharing with us, but we are coming to the end of this show. Anything that you want to share to our viewers that I have left to ask you, but very quickly?
No, no, it's fine. I think, thank you very much. You have actually raised so many pertinent issues. Many people actually, even those who are in the responsible positions, they don't see all these issues so nicely. I think they should see these issues. Spending budget allocated by government is not a major issue, anyone can do. But whatever budget is allocated, I think they should use that wisely. And many of our institutes, they are lacking in that, because I firmly believe that without encouraging our young forces or our students being involved in research, I think we cannot foresee the prosperity that our country has wanted to see. So in this area, we all should focus, and we should link research to innovation, and innovation to entrepreneurship, and I believe that way we move towards prosperity.
Well, Professor Timsona, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts to us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my
Dear viewers,
views.
time now to wrap up the show. Keep watching us. See you next week. Namaste.